Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Friday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. That's right, happy Friday, and it is a happy Friday because yesterday I said about last night's game, I said it was one of the most, if not the most important game of the season, at least to date. And the Mets went out and defeated the Marlins and won the series against the Marlins and closed off a pretty tough road trip at 500. Which at the beginning of said road trip, if anyone had suggested the Mets would have finished at the 500 mark, they'd have been very, very happy with those results because of the dismal start to the trip in LA. But in any event, the Mets finished the road trip at 500. They finished with a couple of good pitching performances from Steven Matz and Seth Lugo. And although Lugo hit the wall a little bit last night in the 6th inning, he still was able to earn a W. His 6th consecutive road victory. I think he said, Gary and Ron said he tied the franchise record with, which was held by Seaver and Kuzman. Not too shabby. Yeah, a W. A W is a good thing. And heading into a weekend series where the Mets will face off with the Phillies, I'm feeling like there might be some momentum building for the 2017 Mets. So speaking of the series this weekend with the Phillies, my brother and I will be in attendance. We've done this for the last couple of years. This is for his birthday. So if you're going to be at either game this weekend and you want to say hey, hit me up on Twitter at Mr_Met. Maybe we can say hi. So that's all for the weekend series. But heading into this weekend series, it's very important that the Mets at the very least take 2 out of 3, and I think it's very possible that will happen because we certainly have a pitching advantage on Friday night with DeGrom going tonight, and Wheeler comes off the DL on Saturday and pitches tomorrow. So the only real wild card, at least in my opinion, is which version of Rafael Montero are we going to get? Are we going to get the version that we've known and come to hate over the last 3 or so seasons? Or are we going to get the new guy who showed up like 2 weeks ago since his promotion from AAA, who pitched a really good game in San Francisco? How much of his success in San Francisco was a result of not being at Citi Field and not being against a lineup with any power? I don't know, but it'd be nice to see him attack batters the same way he did in San Francisco. He was always known as a strike thrower. And this was really the last 2 weeks or so was really the first occasion where we've seen him string together back-to-back outings where he's been consistently throwing strikes. So it'd be nice to see that continue. So again, I think it's a wild card on Sunday. We don't know which version of Montero we're going to get. But that being said, I do think it's important that the Mets take 2 out of 3 and they take the first 2. At this point in the season where there might be some momentum building up for the team, because I did read on Twitter this morning, someone had posted something about the next 30 or so days. The Mets are playing, I think, 20 of those games against teams under 500, or 21 of them. So the majority of the next month's worth of games for the Mets will be against teams with sub-500 records. And it's sort of ironic to think of it that way because the Mets have a sub-500 record, but they're 6 games under right now after last night's win, and they're poised to make a run as far as I'm concerned. I think that now is the time that if the 2017 Mets are serious, they have to make a run. They have to go out and string together victories. They absolutely have to keep winning series. That's important. There's no way to understate the importance of not stringing together consecutive losses. It's very, very likely that by this point on Monday, that the Mets are more like 3 games below 500 if they're able to do what they're supposed to do against the Phillies. That'd be great. Then they head into Washington and facing the Nationals in Nationals Park in DC with a couple of odd starts for game times. Monday 4:10, Tuesday 11:10 a.m. I don't know that I've ever seen a Mets game start that early in the morning. That's just nuts to me, but it is what it is. They play at 11 in the morning. It's going to be a different series, and hopefully the Mets are able to go into Washington and do to the Nats what the Nats did to the Mets, and have done to the Mets all season at Citi Field. So again, that's going to sort of wrap it up for today. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, as I was talking about the Mets making a run in the next 30 days or so. If you look at the Colorado Rockies, they are starting to fall apart a little bit and come back to earth. They've had a rough 2-week stretch. The Diamondbacks are still playing well, but they too are coming back to reality. I think it's clear that the only team that's a real legitimate contender in the NL West is going to end up being the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are light years ahead of both the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. So I think we'll continue to see the Dodgers sort of run away with that division as Colorado fades out, and as I think Arizona starts to fade out too. And the advantage there to the Mets is that it starts to eliminate 2 of the teams that the Mets are chasing in the wild card standings, and that's going to be the goal, to sort of narrow down the chance at making a wild card run. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that the Mets can catch the Nationals. It's certainly not statistically impossible. It does seem very difficult considering that the Mets can't seem to beat the Nationals when they play head-to-head, and if the Mets have any desire to win the division, they're going to need to beat the Nats head-to-head, just like they did down the stretch in 2015. Will they duplicate that this year? I don't know. It's a different team, but it'd be nice to see. Sure, it would be nice to see. The Nationals, by the way, lost Trey Turner last night. He broke his wrist, so that might impact how well the Nationals can continue playing. You know, as I'd said a few weeks ago or a few days ago, the Nationals have had a really good string of luck. They haven't had many injuries, and guess what? Maybe that's going to start catching up to them now. Maybe Ryan Zimmerman's going to start coming back to earth. Maybe Rendon's going to get hurt. Anything can happen. There's still a lot of season left to play. So before everyone gives up on the Mets, let's not do that. Let's remember what this team was able to accomplish these last 2 seasons, and let's hope for the best for the rest of this year. That's all for today. Again, if you're not already doing so, you can follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. That's M-I-S-T-E-R, spell it out, _Met. And as always, let's go Mets.